Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn how to create a jar, how to build a Maven application using Docker. So let's go to our working directory or Jenkins data folder. Let's go to our pipeline, and in here we have our Docker file and our Jenkins file. So if we go one level back, you're going to see this simple Java Maven application, which is the application that we downloaded from Git, if you still remember. And if you go inside of that folder, you are going to find the code that we were using to build our application. So what we're going to do is that basically we're going to copy this directory to this pipeline directory. So let's go ahead and copy this. Let's say copy recursively this directory, everything that is inside of this directory, and we're gonna paste it to our pipeline folder in a new folder that's going to be created, and that's going to be called Java app, for example. Let's hit enter. Let's go to our pipeline folder, and you're going to see your Java app in here. So let's go there, hit enter, and you are going to see all of the files that were in the repository. So here we have an important point, and that is if you list all of the hidden files, you're going to find this git stuff. We don't want this, so let's go ahead and remove this. Git, hit enter, and now that folder got deleted. And we're actually deleting the folder because in the future we want to save this code in our repository, in our own Git server, and this guy is going to give us headaches if we don't delete it. Now let's go back again at the same level of our Jenkins file, and in here at this level we're going to create a Jenkins folder where we're going to store all of the Jenkins stuff. So first, we're going to be creating all of the process for our build process. So let's create a Jenkins folder and a subdirectory for it called build. And here we're going to save all of the build scripts. So let's give -p, and as you can see now we have a Jenkins folder, and inside of that Jenkins folder we have a build folder. So that's super cool. Now that you have done this, it's time to learn how to take the code from this folder, which is the Java app folder. How do we take this code and how do we generate a jar using Docker? Well, let's take a look at this. First, we're going to be using a Maven image for Docker. We're going to be using a super small image, which is called Maven 3 Alpine. You can always go to Google and look for all the images that you want. So in this case, let's go to Google and say Maven Docker image. Well, I think this is the one. And if we go here, you're going to find a lot of Maven images with a lot of tags. So in here, you've got a lot to choose, but we're going to be using this Maven 3 Alpine, which should be right here. So as we don't have that image locally, we're going to do docker pull of that image. And as you can see, we're going to start downloading that image. Why are we downloading a Docker image for Maven? Well, remember that when we were running the process in Jenkins, we installed a Maven plugin. Now we're not going to be using that plugin anymore. We're going to be using this Docker image instead. So let's wait until this process finishes, and then we see what else we need to do. Okay, cool. So you already downloaded your image. As you can see here, the image got downloaded. You can go and do something like Docker images, grab Maven, and you're going to find your image there. So this is cool. Now, how do we build a jar using this image? Well, if you do docker run and then you pass as a volume your current path and the folder of the Java application, and you mount it to /app inside of the container, and then you specify the name of the image, which is Maven, and you say 3/alpine, and if you do something like sh, and we need to add here a -ti to tell Docker that we want an interactive shell, so we hit enter. And as you can see, we have an error right here because the TI should be before the -b, so right here, and that's cool. So now we're inside of the Maven container. We created a Maven container using this image, and we actually mounted the Java app folder to /app. So if we go to /app, you are going to see the content of your directory. So in here you have your pom.xml file. That's cool. So right here you can start doing things like Maven, for example, package package, hit enter, and this POM XML is going to be taken, and Maven is going to start building this stuff. So this is super cool. Now there is one important thing for you to know. I'm just going to cancel it using Control C. If we go to ls, we are still inside of the container. If we go to /root and .m2, you're going to find a folder in here. And this folder stores all of the downloads, all of the packages that needs to be installed from the POM XML. So all of these downloads that you see here are going to be saved in this directory. So if we want to persist this data, then we need to mount this directory as we mounted the repository. So let's go out of this container and let's mount it. Remember, to mount a volume in Docker, it's super simple. You pass -b, and then we're going to mount this directory. This is going to be in our virtual machine, and we're going to mount it to this directory inside of the container, as you can see here. So let me pass here at --rm so that the container gets automatically deleted once we exit. So if we hit enter now, what you are going to see is that anything that we download, it's going to be saved in this directory in our host machine. So if we go again to /app, where we have our code, and we do again a Maven package right here, and we hit enter, this is going to start downloading stuff, as you can see. So let's Control C, let's go out of the container, and when we get out of the container is automatically deleted because of this instruction. But the thing is that if you go to ls/root/m2 in your virtual machine, you are going to find, okay, permission denied, you are going to find all of the files that were created inside of that repository. So whenever you go inside of your Docker container, you are going to find those files in your container, which means that probably you will not need to download things again, because the things are going to be saved in here, all of the dependencies and packages for Maven. Remember that in order to build our jar, we need to go to /app, because here is where we have our POM.xml file. And to run Maven package, we need to be in this level, because if we run Maven package outside of this, we're going to have an error. So let's test it, Maven package, and you will have errors because Maven is not going to find any POM.xml file. So we need to go always to this directory. But how do we do this from the command line? So in Docker we have an option which is the working directory, and we can specify that using -w. If we say -w and then we pass /app, which is the directory that we're creating in here, and we hit enter, as you can see, now we fall automatically in the folder that holds the code. And if we do an ls-l, you're going to find all of the code right there. Now let's get out of here. And now you may be wondering, how are we going to execute the Maven package automatically? Well, this is going to be simple. Now we're going to keep this, but we're going to delete this TI because we don't want an interactive shell anymore. So let's keep it like this. And in here, we're not going to be passing sh anymore because we don't want to enter inside of the container, but instead we want to pass the Maven package in here. So that is going to be executed automatically. Because remember, we're mounting the code inside of the /app folder, and in here we're setting the working directory to that specific folder where we have the POM XML file. So the only one thing that we're missing is to type the command to package something in Maven. So we're going to be using Maven -b, and then we say -d skip tests, and then we say clean package. So in this way the code is not going to be tested because we want to test it later. So let's hit enter, and what do you think that's going to happen? As you can see, the container or our command is being run inside of the container, but without going inside of the container manually. This is going to be done automatically. And as you can see, the Maven package command is being executed, and it's taking a look at the content of the POM XML file, and it's downloading everything that it needs. But keep in mind that we haven't gone inside of the container. We just executed one line and the process has been done automatically. And also remember that all of these dependencies are going to be saved in the /root/mn2 directory. So the second time that we run this command, we're not going to be downloading this anymore. So let's wait until this finishes and we're going to see what happens. So great, as you see the process already finished and everything went good. And here we have a line that says building jar and we have here this location. Remember that this is inside of the container, but we actually mapped our current Java app folder to this folder inside of the container. And as you can see, we have our jar generated. So let's go to ls, let me clean the screen, Java app, target, and as you can see, we have the jar that was created by our Docker image. So let's test it again. Let's remove this jar from here, which is my app something. Let's remove it. Say yes. Well, let's say sudo 1234, and that is deleted, as you can see here. We don't have this jar anymore. But if we execute this line again, remember that this line does all the magic. And if we hit enter, the first thing that you are going to notice is that we're not going to be downloading anything else because all of that is being saved in the /root/mm2 directory. And the only one thing that Docker is going to do is that it's going to build the jar using this line. And as you can see, the jar is going to be built in this folder, but this folder is mapped to this host folder, and therefore all the content that is created in here is going to appear in this folder. So now if we take a look at our Java app target folder, you are going to find your jar there. So this is super cool. You already know how to create a jar using a Docker image, a Docker command to build it automatically using your code. So please make sure that you understand everything from this section. If you don't understand something, just watch it again and make sure that you fully understand everything because this is super important. So this is it for this video. I'll see you in the next lesson.